Yo, what's really good, people? Welcome back to the channel. It's Tuesday. I'm on the Trading 212 site. It can only mean one thing: Trading 21 Tuesday. And it's a historic Tuesday. It's a monumental Tuesday. It might just go down as one of the most influential Tuesdays in the American, if not, global calendar. As obviously today we will be, well, probably not today, but today's election day. And this week we will be learning who is the new president, either Joe Biden or if Donald Trump is going to remain as president over the next 4 years. So I'm going to discuss what that might mean for investors. There's obviously a lot of chatter around what stocks or what industries are going to be relevant for investors depending on who enters the Oval Office. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on that. We're obviously going to talk a bit about the pies, as it's a Trading 212 portfolio update, and my portfolio mainly consists of pies, but now it consists of quite a sizable investment in another organization. The biggest investment I've made in any one single company throughout my investing career, to be fair. And I'm continuing to add to this position, and I'm continuing to bet big on this position. So I'm going to talk to you why I think NIO, Keanu Reeves, The Matrix, Red Pill is the future, and why I am investing big on NIO as well. So yeah, if you want to know all of that plus more, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell. Also, my Trading 212 referral link will be down below. Click on the link, sign up, you'll get a free share of up to £100 as well. And don't forget to join the board. If you want to join the board, you will see a join button next to the subscribe button. If you want to join the board and get stock picks, want to talk about trades, want to talk about your portfolio, want to talk about strategy, not just with me, but with other people in the community, definitely join the board. We have some interesting conversations here, and obviously that might help you with your investing career. So definitely jump onto that. But first, let's get into the pies first, because I think that's, the main and the most important thing with these updates. So you can see that obviously I have my free pies. Now, over the last few weeks, obviously there hasn't been quite a few Trading 212 updates over the past few weeks, just because I've been pretty busy at the moment. But over the last, I would say, 3 weeks, the market, as you guys would have known, has been in very bad shape. So everything has started to drop, to be honest, with the value of all of my stocks and holdings across free trade and across Trading 212. So you can see here that the 30 fund has only now scraped into 0.42% profit. I think it was about 30% profit before. The DPMO is quite on track, and there's a reason why that's on track, at 41.6% profit. So that mainly is due to NIO doing pretty well, and also Cloudflare doing well. But obviously Galactic's gone down, and Lemonade, as you can see here, has also gone down. Within the 30 fund, it's a bit of a mixed bag. You can see that Amazon's down, Tesla's down, Fastly's down, Adobe Systems is down. However, it is being held up by a few notable stocks, such as the Trade Desk, which is doing pretty well as well. Taiwan Semiconductor's doing okay. So some of these stocks are the reason why it's kind of just literally scraping into the green, to be fair. And then with the kiddies pies, you can see it's 11 pence or 11 cents, probably 3 pence in the green. Mainly through the retailers, Target and Walmart. They're really the ones that's doing quite well at the moment. The tech firms, the big tech firms, aren't doing so well. Financial firms aren't doing so well. So that's currently the status. I have added to these pies as well. So I've added to all of these positions recently as well. And yeah, I'm just going to obviously let that tick along until I basically add to it again. So, with these pies, as I mentioned, but for those of you that are new and are sort of coming in at different periods, I have these pies as almost my own ETFs. These are my own ETFs. This is the way I like to see it. They are my own ETFs that I've created for different goals and different purposes. So just like you would invest in MSCI World Small Cap Tracker #2 or whatever these ETFs are called, this is basically my ETFs. They have a specific purpose, they have a specific goal, they have different terms and horizons, and therefore they're going to have different holdings. So the 30 fund for me is a 3-year ETF. I only really want to hold it for around 3 years, hopefully get into a certain amount of profit and then sell it, and then obviously reconfigure the portfolio from there. The DPMO is a 10-year horizon, more riskier stocks, but ones that I think will have a big future in the next 10 years, and the kiddies is an 18-year horizon. Stocks that I feel are much safer, pay a dividend, will benefit from compounding, and then obviously is going to have, a bigger benefit in 18 years time when, my unborn kids hopefully can benefit from this pie as well. So yeah, that's the reason for those. But if you go over to the investments tab, you can obviously see all of the individual stocks that makes up the pie. But what you can also see here is NIO. I've got NIO. I've had NIO since it's been always been in the pies. And if you see from the history, which we're going to get to in a second, I've had NIO since July and probably started investing more aggressively into it early October. But as you can see now, NIO is sort of the biggest position, and it's the only singular investment that I've got within trading 212 at the moment. So currently it's doing okay at 14.79%. The reason why I'm investing in NIO is I am definitely expecting, this stock to double, if not triple, in the short to medium term. So that's one of the reasons why I'm sort of betting big. And I'm sort of going through an exercise. It's mainly a mental exercise, I would say, just trying to go through some of my old videos, go through some of the, my old strategies that I've always documented down in different areas, and actually try to see what's worked well, what hasn't worked well. And the overwhelming feeling of consolidation rather than diversification came through in a lot of my videos as well, whereby it's just picking the ones you really believe in and actually going sort of full hog on those ones rather than sort of being too spread across, many different stocks. Now, within my ISA, that theme came across. I remember there was a day when I used to have 24 stocks in my ISA. Now it's about 11, so that's definitely gone in the right direction. I think it can go further, to be honest. I think, I should probably be in around the 7 to 10 stocks maximum, I would say, but I think probably 7 stocks would be ideal within my ISA, and that's within free trade. So that's definitely something that I'm trying to think about how I do. It's not that easy just to sell positions and just to buy other positions because, I think there is a timing element to it. I obviously believe in the positions I have bought. So there's obviously that kind of, being, I guess, attached to the stocks that you've kind of purchased. But, every dog has its day. So that is currently what I'm looking at. With my trading 212, I definitely don't want to make that mistake and just have loads of stocks. So I have my pies, and my pies will be, kind of where there will be my multiple stocks, I guess, but I see it as really 3 ETFs. That's the way I'm kind of visualizing it. But on the investment front, I'm only having NIO at the moment, and if there is any other one that I do decide to hold, I will try and give it the same amount of weighting as I'm giving to NIO at the moment. So what you can basically see here is that currently the return is 14%. As you can see, the market's open, so obviously this percentage is increasing and decreasing. My average price is around $29, which is cool. And obviously the current price at the moment, as you can see, is $34.28. So yeah, that's the current share price for NIO at the moment. And therefore, yeah, my return is 1,800. But the interesting thing is I've been sort of adding money in periodically. So what you can see here is that these are the original investments that I've made into NIO, basically, obviously as part of the pies. And then by this period, I think I was already 90% up within my pie on NIO. And I was just like, look, I need to kind of make a separate individual position in NIO. So I started making an individual position here at the 19th of October. And then again on the 20th of October. And then slowly, I've just basically been adding to these positions, which you can basically see here. And yeah, and I bought again today. Another 2,000 into the position. My goal is to get either 1,000 shares or £25,000 invested of my own money, whichever comes first. Because obviously the amount of shares is pretty much dependent on the share price. So obviously I don't really have that much control over the amount of shares. So if I end up investing £25,000 worth and it's say 950 shares, then I won't care to get to 1,000 shares. That's basically the way I'm seeing it. But if I can get to 1,000 shares and invest less than 25 grand, then obviously I'll get to 1,000 shares. So that's my goal for NIO. The reason why I'm going so heavy in NIO is because I just think that when you look at NIO's business model, they've got an advantage whereby they've learned from all of Tesla's mistake, and I don't necessarily think they're going to have the exact same performance as Tesla, but I'm looking at them as an individual business, and I'm seeing their battery as a service business model. I'm seeing the amount of cars that they're already selling and their growth figures. I'm seeing all of the people that's actually backing them. I'm looking at the credibility of the CEO, who I've been doing research into, and he's very inspirational to not to the extent that Elon potentially is for some of you guys, but I think he's definitely got a lot of credibility around him. And I think there's a lot more to NIO than there is, some of the other EV manufacturers out there, personally speaking. So yeah, NIO's looking really interesting for me at the moment. I don't really like making share price predictions, as I think they're generally all wrong. And I think you can do things like look at, price to sales and then extrapolate that, and then basically, make a forecast that if it continues to do this over a certain period of time, what the share price is going to be. But I think, just broadly speaking, I think it's not unreasonable to think that NIO could be a stock that could effectively double, if not triple, within the next, I guess, short to medium term. So by that, I'm probably saying, 1 to 2 years. So if I can get a meaningful position in that, then hopefully it's going to be great news for me going forward in the future. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm buying NIO. If you follow on Instagram, you would have seen me talk about NIO a long time ago. So obviously, if some of you guys are already holding NIO, if you're not, it's definitely something to potentially look into. Now, onto the election. As you can imagine, there are so many different articles or people saying this is what you should buy and this is what you should sell. This article from CNBC basically talks about if Trump wins, it's going to favor growth stocks, whereas if Biden wins, it's going to favor the more cyclical value stocks potentially. There's another article here from Barron's which basically talks about, based on the platform that Trump and Biden are standing on, Biden is standing on more of a clean energy platform, and he's talking about, reducing emissions and reducing the use and the reliance of fossil fuels. So their perspective is that clean energy stocks and ETFs are going to do really well, which incidentally would include things like First Solar, Plug Power, and potentially Tesla as well, as it's technically one of the biggest, clean energy companies and businesses out there. So they're saying if Biden wins, that's going to be a benefit for them, whereas if Trump wins, it's going to be a benefit for oil. I don't know how much I really agree with that. See, a lot of these things, just because they're on these very reputable websites, it doesn't mean you have to believe it word for word. You have to apply some critical thinking as well, and your own opinion. And you might have looked at some other stuff that these writers didn't, or they might be biased. They might have they might have a certain political skew that they're sort of geared towards. I think with a lot of US media outlets, they typically are either Democrat or Republican. So you always have to take certain things with a pinch of salt when it discusses politics. Me personally, I don't think oil stocks are necessarily just going to rally up if Trump is president, because they're not rallying up now. The oil prices are low because the demand for oil-based, goods and services such as planes and vehicles and so forth is very, very low. So I don't think if Trump goes into the office again, obviously, or stays in the office rather, that oil stocks are just going to all of a sudden shoot up. There is a massive economic situation, obviously the pandemic, and oil is naturally affected by that. So that's why I kind of take that with a pinch of salt. Similarly, I think clean energy has been doing very well under Trump as well. So I don't specifically feel that clean energy is all of a sudden going to get a significant boost under Biden, personally speaking. I do think tech stocks will get a boost under Biden, primarily because most of the tech companies are Democrats, and most of them are, openly advocating and supporting Biden, from Google to Microsoft, etc., etc. So, they might get a boost if Biden becomes in office. But yeah, that's my personal sort of opinion on that. And then you got an article from Kramer on CNBC. A lot of people don't really like Kramer because I think he made, some really bad bad stock bets back in the day, and people lost money. So people sort of saying, whatever Kramer says, do the opposite. But in this instance, I fully wholeheartedly agree with him. And he basically says, whatever happens, you should buy. He kind of says there's going to be a dip and then you should buy. I don't even necessarily think there's going to be a dip. The market's been down for the past 3 weeks consistently, quite heavily for a lot of us. And so that's not always going to continue. You very rarely see the market down for like 5 weeks in a row, 6 weeks in a row. So, it's already started to bounce back this week. So I don't think necessarily there's going to be another dip. Maybe there will be, who knows? But either or, my whole philosophy is just buy what you think is the right stock to buy. And I think for me, that's just the principle I'm going to live by. I'm going to look at the fundamentals of a business. I'm going to look at the same things I've always been looking at. I'm going to be looking at all of the characteristics around stocks that I personally think is valuable things to evaluate. And then I'm going to buy based of that. And I'm not really going to let the macro factors dictate whether or not I buy a stock or not buy a stock. I mean, unless it's something like an airline stock, then yeah, the macro factors is going to be quite important because airlines are obviously losing a lot at the moment. But I think when it comes to regular stocks, when it comes to tech stocks, when it comes to growth stocks, etc., I'm just going to be looking at the actual merits of each individual stock, and that's going to basically be my focus. So yeah, I think personally, if you were to ask me, what to buy based off the election, I would ignore whoever wins. I think it's going to be important on a global level for so many reasons, but I think for investors, I would ignore and I would focus on, the stocks that you've always wanted to buy. I'm sure there's stocks on your watch list that you wanted to buy, or stocks that you currently hold that you want to add more to. And for me personally, that would be where I would put my eggs in anyway. So yeah, hopefully you found this interesting. If you like the video, join the board members if you want to join and discuss stocks, portfolio strategies, or anything else. And I will catch you next time with another investment video. Take care, guys. Peace.